Hello, this is Dr. Lenz, and I wanted to welcome all of you to Lifestyle Medicine. It's Healthy Lifestyle Management 450. And so I thought what we would do in the for this first module is I'll just explain a bit about the course in general first, so you can maybe refer back to this video later. But then also, I think it would be worth going over some of the topics about Module 1. I think what I'll do each week is have a video for you to review or to look at, to kind of give you an overview of what we're talking about and at least get my perspective on the topic. I think that's helpful for online courses. As you probably know, we don't do lecturing for this. I'm not a big fan of the lecturing for lots of reasons that maybe we could talk about at a different time. But it is helpful for you to hear it from me on the topic that we're covering, so you can not just read it in the book, but also get a bit more depth from me. So let's just very briefly go over the course. What I'd like for you to do is to look over the course in blue line at the beginning to kind of make sure you're familiar with things. Read through the syllabus. If it's helpful for you, print off a hard copy of the syllabus. Then you can kind of keep track as you're going along. But everything you need to know is in the syllabus, and that's what I'm going to briefly cover today. Starting with the required textbook. The book for the course was, of course, as you know by now, the author of the textbook, and I wrote it specifically for a course just like this. So that's why we're just going to go through the book, the entire book from start to finish, starting really from Module 2 to Module 8. Covering the content in there. It's a pretty quick read. There are some technical things as well as some theories in the book, but I think you'll find it to be easy to get through and give you an overview of what lifestyle medicine is. It's not meant to be incredibly technical, but to give you a good foundation and a starting point for understanding what lifestyle medicine is. So needless to say, the book is required for the course, and I'm not going to go through a lot of this in detail, but I did want to point out to a couple of things, and in particular, I guess we'll start with what the assignments are. One of the things I like to do for required readings is to have you go through what I call just a worksheet. It's a reading worksheet, as you'll notice in your syllabus. There are 15 reading worksheets because there are 15 chapters in the book. Each of them is 10 points. Essentially what I do is take direct sentences from the readings and then leave out words, and then you fill those in, and that's your worksheet. It's a way to what I like to refer to as active reading as opposed to passive reading. So you'd be doing a disservice to yourself if you just went through and looked at, tried to find some missing words, but as you're reading through, they'll be very clear what is needed there. Each week, or each module, as you know, they're the same. It's an 8-week course, eight modules. So each week we'll be having a discussion. That will be a big part of the course. It's worth about 10% of the final grade, but it's this part of scholarly engagement between yourselves as student colleagues and between us as instructor and student. My role in the discussions is to largely let you do the discussion, lead the discussions, as opposed to getting in and directing. I would like for students to be able to lead the discussion. So that isn't to say that I won't be interjecting opinions and perspectives from time to time, but I'd like for you to kind of go through and lead that. As far as the discussions go, you are required to do an original post and then to do 2 reply posts to your classmates. Each of the posts needs to be at least 150 words, and in the directions I purposefully put to expand on the topics that are covered in the readings. I didn't give you guidance on what exactly to talk about, and that was purposeful because I would like for you to do that for yourselves. I'd like for you to be able to pull out pieces of these of what we're talking about in that particular module and expand on those. Ask questions about what is unclear. Not just saying, "Oh, I agree with this and I agree with that," and just summarize. That's not what this is. It's not just a summary so that I know that you read it. It's a scholarly discussion about a topic. So you can pick just one topic out of what you read and talk about it in further depth. Pull in other resources if you would like, but expand on it and not just say, "I agree with this and this is great and this is awesome," yada yada. That's not the point. The point of this is the point is to have a good scholarly discussion. So those are the two things that are going to happen. The two things, meaning the reading worksheets and the discussions. Those two things will happen each week. Besides the first module, there is no reading worksheet for the first module. That starts in module 2. And I'm looking through this just to make sure. Yes, that's true. Okay, so the rest of the semester, you can kind of split it in half as far as you have 2 major assignments in the course. And you will see that each of them take, the first 4 weeks, you'll work on a term paper. And then the second half, or the second 4 weeks, you'll work on a self-care project. The self-care project in total is worth more points than is the term paper, but they're both very large, assignments. So please go through and read those, and I'll explain more about those as we go and get closer to that. The other thing I'd like for you to do is to read through the rubrics that I included in here as far as each of the assignments have a rubric so you know what's expected of you depending on what type of grade you would like to get on those assignments. Just to provide a little bit of clarity, the term paper is due on week 4, but on week 2, by the end of week 2, you will have to submit to me your topic and a 100-word summary of your topic. That's due by the Sunday of Module 2. But both of those will be graded as one grade. So the summary and the full paper will be in the same grade, and you can see that reflected in the rubric. If you have questions about that, let me know. One of the things that you will notice too, just by way of other housekeeping, is that discussions are due by the end of the day on Thursday. So that would be 11:59 Central Time on Thursday, and then that's your original post, and then 2 reply posts are due by Sunday. The way the course works, again, housekeeping, modules start on Monday and they end on Sunday. So the first module starts on Monday and then ends that coming up Sunday, and then the next module starts the next day, and so on for the 8 weeks. Okay, so let's so for module 1, just to finish this discussion, if you have any questions about the particular aspects of the course, any of the detail, course logistics, just shoot me an email, let me know. Okay, so majority of the course is going to be reading the textbook, but that's with the exception of Module 1. What I wanted to do in Module 1 is set the table for you, talking about whole person health, which you probably are familiar with already in maybe some of the other courses that you have taken, and also that connection with Cura Personalis, or care for the whole person, and that Ignatian charism. That's something that's so important for us here at a Jesuit institution. And how do those two relate to what we're doing here in lifestyle medicine? So the 3 readings that I gave for you on Module 1 set the foundation for this. What you may want to do, and there's no particular order to read these, and it doesn't have to be read in the order that they're listed in your syllabus, but you may want to read the definitions first. That's the one that has my reference on there. It says health versus wellness versus lifestyle medicine versus well-being versus whole person health. And really, it's just a one-pager on the definitions of each of those. And so we're on the same page when we talk about lifestyle medicine. We know that we're speaking the same language. When we talk about whole person health, we're speaking the same language. And that was really the purpose of that document there. You then may want to read the article that was published in the International Journal of Clinical Practice by Sagner and Katz and colleagues. This is really a seminal article for folks who practice in lifestyle medicine. Why is that? Because what those folks did, folks who practice lifestyle medicine in the United States and in Australia and in Europe came together and agreed on a definition for lifestyle medicine. That definition is very important for us, so we all can, again, speak the same language. So some of the challenges is if we're talking about similar things, but we're not speaking the same language. So this document helps us to do that, to speak the same language. It also provides some rationale and justification for lifestyle medicine from their perspective. The folks who are the authors of this article are the world experts in lifestyle medicine. And lifestyle medicine is a pretty new field, and I guess I'll go into that in just a second to give you some perspective of what lifestyle medicine really is. But this may be a good article for you to read second, because it's going to give some justification. Why is it important for us? And then lastly, the Breslow article, it's an editorial or a commentary in the American Journal of Public Health, published in 2006, and talks about the three eras of healthcare so far that we've experienced. The first one is communicable diseases, which we have largely overcome in the United States through vaccinations and so on. Some of the other parts of the world are still dealing with that. But then we went into the second, which we're still smack dab in this second era, and this is dealing with chronic diseases. It's epidemic diseases, and a good example of that is obesity. Obesity is an interesting thing because it's an epidemic or a disease of the wealthy, and there's such a dichotomy in the world in that we have the wealthy dealing with excess and then bringing themselves into an epidemic like obesity, and then you have the poor who don't have enough, and obesity isn't something they, of course, that they deal with, but it's they have other issues health-wise that they're dealing with. But we're still smack dab in this chronic disease era, and we'll probably be there for a very long time. But what he wants to talk about, Breslow, what he wants to talk about in this commentary is the third era, which he says we're already in. That may be debatable, but I think where we're going on this is what should be, could be, is referred by some as fruitful living. This is what healthy lifestyle management is all about, is pushing people to fruitful living, and that is, fruitful living is where we're not bound by our health restrictions, and that we can live and thrive in our life the way we want to, and our health is not a barrier to that. And so that's where we want to be, and I think that's where we, in the Healthy Lifestyle Management Program, are getting folks to understand what that means through whole person health, and then pushing people in that direction. And there's no other way to do this but to deal with the whole person, or cure personalis. And that's how these tie together. Cure personalis is so significant for Ignatian pedagogy, but it's also foundational for this major, because we look at all the aspects of what determines health for an individual. And in doing that, we are moving towards cure personalis. So that's kind of how these tie together. The one last thing I wanted to mention was really about lifestyle medicine in itself. Lifestyle medicine is very young as far as a profession. We're talking less than 10 years old. And it was started originally in a couple places in the United States, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and they've kind of converged a bit. Probably the best source of information for this is the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. I would encourage you to look at their to look at their website to get some information about this and to consider joining them. This isn't a plug for them. I'm a member, but it's not a plug for them. But it is a good organization to be involved in regarding lifestyle medicine. But it started as really a physician-only organization. It is interdisciplinary, interprofessional, intercollaborative, whatever word you want to use, but not really to the degree that it needs to be yet. It's still largely physician-based, but if you look at the membership, it's pretty interdisciplinary. Lifestyle medicine is one of these areas that cross-cuts every health and wellness profession. We all have a role, all can have a role, all should have a role in promoting lifestyle medicine with folks. So you'll get a little bit of the history, I think, by looking at the website, but they have an annual meeting every year, and as the American College of Lifestyle Medicine does, and it's a good place to go to kind of get up to speed on the new and latest in lifestyle behavior modifications and working with folks. All right, so there you have it. That's the introduction to the course. It's the introduction to Module 1. If you have any questions, let me know. I will reply to emails and to discussions as needed and as quickly as possible. So don't be afraid to reach out if you need something. I hope you thoroughly enjoy the course. This is, out of all of them, this is something that I've done the most work in lifestyle medicine, so it's near and dear to me. So I'm excited to teach this course, to say the least, and to have good discussions about the topics. All right, good luck. Have fun. Thanks.